Good evening, Black people and all allies fighting for Black liberation, Black prosperity, and Black joy. I'm Charles Blow, and welcome to Prime. The Supreme Court has decided that it will hear an appeal to its decision to allow the state of Alabama to use its new congressional map for this year's midterm elections. The Republican-leaning map was challenged in a lower federal court on the grounds that it violated the Voting Rights Act by denying Black voters a new district. While the Supreme Court has said that it will hear the appeal, the timing is problematic for Alabama's Black voters, as the court will hear the appeal in the fall session, likely after the election. The Supreme Court's decision upholds a congressional map with only one predominantly Black district out of 7 districts in the state. This all but ensures that Republicans will maintain their 6-1 advantage in congressional seats from the state. Alabama's lone Black representative, Terry Sowell, released a statement on the Supreme Court's decision that reads in part, "This order underscores the urgent need for Congress to enact my bill, the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, which would restore much-needed federal oversight to ensure that minority voters are fairly represented. Black Alabamians deserve nothing less." Initially filed in federal court, the suit aims to split Representative Sowell's district, which is 63% Black, into 2 districts. This likely would have led to Alabama having 2 Black representatives. Joining us to discuss are the executive director of the Advancement Project, Judith Browne Dianis, and voting rights reporter for The Guardian, Sam Levine. So, Judith, let me ask you, what do you make of the Supreme Court putting this off to hear it in the fall, which will likely be after the elections for the midterm? So they'll basically be running with the map that the Republicans have drawn.
Well, Charles, what this means is, first of all, the lower court threw out the plan and said they had to come up with a plan with 2 districts because there were enough Black people to have 2 Black majority districts. So the Supreme Court says, oh no, you don't have to throw that out. We're going to keep this in place. And so what it means is that Black political power has been diminished and has been weakened just in time for the midterm elections. Now, the Supreme Court should have let that decision stand and should have let them go back, made them go back and redraw these districts, but they didn't. And so not only should we be worried about the midterms, but it's about what it also means when the Supreme Court takes up this case later, because we have justices who are enemies and foes of the Voting Rights Act. And so I'm very worried about what could happen, and it could really mean the death knell of the Voting Rights Act.
So Sam, not only that, but we should back up to the fact that this is not the only map that's being challenged. If the Supreme Court is basically saying in this case that it's too close to the election for us to take this case now, doesn't that basically by default mean that all the cases that are behind it, it will also be too late for them to take those cases?
Yeah, the Supreme Court's ruling is very troubling for anyone trying to bring a challenge to voting rights maps in federal court. It's very hard to see how anyone can make a claim in the Supreme Court that a map, in federal court and eventually at the Supreme Court, that a map needs to be struck down before an election if this map for Alabama, which has its primary election in May, is not being struck down. So I think what we're seeing and what we're going to see more of is more kind of claims shift to state courts and state Supreme Courts, where the U.S. Supreme Court might be a little bit more hesitant to weigh in. But this ruling from the Supreme Court will make it much, much more difficult to challenge maps in federal court.
Charles, if I could just add, one of the things that Sam is raising here is that there's always another election around the corner, right? And so when we see states, for example, even pass voter suppression laws, like right now we're in court in Florida over the voter suppression law there, and we continuously have to sue these states. And so if they pass legislation and there's an election coming up 10 months later, then the court's saying, well, too bad. You can't bring that case because it's too close to an election. Again, there's an election always around the corner, and we have to be able to stop these laws in their tracks before it's too late, because you cannot fix an election after the fact.
Sam, what do you think of the chances of the case prevailing even once it is heard at the Supreme Court?
Well,
I think there's
no, go ahead, Sam. Sorry.
Sorry, Judith. I think there's some very worrisome signals from the Supreme Court. I think it's important to note that the lawyers bringing this case and outside experts did not see this as a close case. It's been described as a textbook violation of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which prohibits election procedures that discriminate on the basis of race. There were very clear conditions in Alabama that made this a clear case. The Black population is big enough. There is racially polarized voting, so Black voters vote for one candidate, white voters vote for another candidate. And there's obviously a clear history of discrimination against Black voters in Alabama. And what experts have said is if this case doesn't violate the Voting Rights Act, it's hard to imagine a case that does. And I think the lower court as well said this was not a close case. But what we saw from the Supreme Court yesterday was them saying that there are unclear questions here that need to be clarified, which is a very worrisome signal for, as Judith said, for the future of the Voting Rights Act and for this challenge to ultimately prevail at the Supreme Court.
So, Judith, what do you think that the question is for the Voting Rights Act? What is the threat here? What if the court says that that there's a problem with this case? It's not as clear cut as the lower cuts and the voting rights experts say that it is, and they let these maps stand in this case. Does that mean that the Voting Rights Act, as we know it, the rest of it, the part that is still standing, is no more?
Yeah, I'm very worried about that, because remember, we have Justice Roberts, who has been a longtime foe of the Voting Rights Act. And while he may have sided with the liberal justices in this particular instance for the temporary, what we do know is that he also said that this law is unclear. It's not unclear. We've had this law in place since 1965. And so I think that this is, along with what's going to happen to affirmative action, this is the conservative court rewriting civil rights law. And it is very problematic because we won't have any protections. Congress can't get it through because of Manchin and Sinema and the filibuster. And so we're going to be left without protections. And Charles, this is basically the Republicans and the Supreme Court dismantling our democracy brick by brick.
So let me ask you a question, about whether or not this will just be lumped in with other kinds of gerrymandering, just be allowed to go on. We got reports yesterday about how well the Democrats were doing at playing the Republicans' game. They were just increasing the number of districts that they could hold. Do you believe that the Supreme Court would look at this and say, this is just happening everywhere? There's gerrymandering everywhere. This is a state issue, not a federal issue. You guys work it out on the state level, and that they will discount, as they have in other cases, and including on the last time they took up the voting rights bill, discount race as a factor and just say this is a political issue.
Well, the Supreme Court has already kind of given up when it comes to partisan gerrymandering. They said in 2019 that there's nothing they or federal courts can do to really police partisan gerrymandering, and it's really up to state courts. But up until now, the Supreme Court has really looked at gerrymandering based on race, gerrymandering that discriminates based on race with more skepticism. They have in the past at least been more willing to police that kind of gerrymandering. And so to see the Supreme Court signaling that it may be taking a step back from that it might be raising the bar for what challengers need to prove to show racial gerrymandering or gerrymandering that discriminates based on race is very, very troubling and signals, I think, that the Supreme Court is headed in the direction of stepping back from policing this, which is very, very troubling.
Judith, in Alabama, in the latest census, the black population grew by a few percentage points. The white population declined by a few percentage points. But in other states, the population shifts have been even more dramatic, where nearly all of the increase has come from black and brown people, and the white population has decreased. But because Republicans and therefore white people in those states hold the power, they have actually increased the amount of power that they hold. How much of a threat is this to representative democracy? Or have we already passed the point where representative democracy really doesn't operate the way people idealize it and teach it in textbooks?
I mean, it's very problematic because what we have in Alabama and we're seeing in other states is, of course, what we call part of the gerrymandering is to pack people of color and minority voters into particular districts so they have less power. And so while in Alabama you could have had 2 districts, they put everybody, let's put them all into one, so they'll only get 1 representative. And so that is very troubling, especially because our demographics are shifting. And so part of this, Charles, I believe, is a last stand of white power, right? They know that we are becoming browner and blacker. And in fact, what they're trying to do is do this last power grab to ensure that white folks still stay in power, and white Republicans in particular. And so I think we're going to be in this problem at least for the next 2 decades, but then things will shift because the numbers will be there and hopefully people will vote and participate so we can oust some of these folks.
Sam Levine and Judith Browne Dianis, thank you both for joining me tonight. Appreciate your time.